Reserve currency essentially is that the world trades in USDs.
Everybody knows the US can just bomb them if necessary, which is why BRICS has showed up, which is why China becomes very aggressive. But this is not just on an economic level. It's on a political level. It's on how China chooses to infiltrate the US, the number of people who are moving there, because it's just more opportunity for them there. Something is shifting.
So you want to say something?
So yeah, I wanted to say that one of the reasons, speaking of printing money, we have the reserve currency privilege, right?
Explain to people what that is.
Reserve currency essentially is that the world trades in USD. So if India buys a barrel of oil from Saudi Arabia, they pay them in USD. They're not paying them in Saudi riyals.
So what happens, JK, when somebody refuses to pay in USD?
When we going according to the U.S. holding the reserve.
Sure.
Vivek and I were talking about one of the problems of the U.S. holding the reserve. Now we have Republicans coming in, we have Democrats coming in. As the U.S. has conflict in their own cultural whatever it is, their behavior with money changes. And their behavior affects the rest of the world.
Correct.
So it's kind of like you have a country that's holding the reserve that is now spoiled and having an attitude.
10,000% correct.
Yes. Now, I know you like this in your personality because for you, it's just like, well, we have the power. We get to have this attitude. I think the longer term and maybe even short term problem that we don't see is that there is a very strong reaction from the rest of the world towards this.
Very correct.
Everybody knows the US can just bomb them if necessary, which is why BRICS has showed up, right? Which is why China becomes very aggressive. But this is not just on an economic level. It's on a political level. It's on how China chooses to infiltrate the US. And there are a lot of things that I think are happening to the US interests that the general public cannot see. So for instance, if we'd say politically, and again, I'm generalizing here, it's just what I'm seeing, and it doesn't mean it's accurate. When you see the US policy towards other countries now, like Trump that has no business in ASEAN, but he's going to show up there and say stuff, is because there is, maybe not existential, but there's a threat from China in different places. The US knows it. The general public in the US, they don't need to know it. They don't understand that there's a threat and Trump has been informed by intelligence that, China is taking over all of this, and this is the projection. They understand this. What I would say is that us coming from countries where you've seen corruption, when you look at a country and you start noticing a sharp increase in corruption at the highest levels, it's usually because they know something, not just because things are loose. So people at the highest level are going to protect themselves when they know something is coming. So I believe that the reserve thing, it's going to keep the US floating for a very long time, but the impact of it is impacting the US, but it's also forcing other countries to grow. So other countries to go against the US are going to start making moves that, I don't know, I'm not that well versed in it. But when I go to Asia and I see the rise of China and I see the things it's doing for people's lifestyle, how it's pulling a lot of people out of poverty, the number of people who are moving there, because it's just more opportunity for them there. I see that something is happening, something is shifting. I get you're being bullish, but don't you feel that there's a downside for on the individual level?
Yeah. So I want to, you want to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I want to say 110% of everything you just said is correct.